going to go ahead and we're recording, and Dayton, I will mute myself and you take it away, love. Thank you again for the time.
My pleasure. Appreciate the invite. So hello, everybody. Good morning. First of all, I am super jealous that you guys are all in Santa Barbara. In San Antonio, it was 107 Sunday. We got a break Monday. I think it was only 105. Today, getting better, 104. But we're going to break an all-time record for 100-degree days. So, and I've been to Santa Barbara. I get why you guys want to live there and never leave. It is a beautiful place, just idyllic. And so, anyway, so enough of the gushing. This is my 40th year in the business. This is all I've ever done. I grew up here in San Antonio. I went to Texas A&M. I flunked out because I never cracked a book in high school. And after about 18 months, they said, son, you got to go. So I came home with my tail between my legs. And my high school golf coach, I was talking with him and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he said, go talk to my wife. She runs a real estate office. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, go talk to Yvonne. I said, okay. So I went and talked to Yvonne, and I'd known her for years. So I played for her husband. And I said, she said, oh, Dayton, you'll love real estate. And I said, really? She goes, oh yeah, you'll be good at it. Sign here. So she slides that independent contractor agreement in front of me, and I didn't have anywhere else to go. So I went to my grandfather's house and pulled a sport coat out of the closet and figured out how to tie a tie. And that was January of 1982. And the first house I sold was Super Bowl Sunday, 1982. And then I starved for the next probably 6+ years, just really struggled. Interest rates were 15, 16%. So you guys are wincing at 5.5. I got news for you. That's nothing compared to what I have seen. And so we're selling negative AM loans and FHA GPMs and 531 buy downs and wraparound mortgages and non-qualifying assumptions and all that good stuff. And no computers, no pagers, no cell phones. This is old school. Everything's by hand. There are no faxes and all that sort of thing. So it's been fun to watch how much our industry has evolved in 40 years, from the old days of you had your MLS book and they said they threatened you with your life if you gave that away to anybody, to now we're paying money to promote our listings on the internet so everybody else can have them and cross promote them. And so it's maddening sometimes. But anyway, made it through. People were nice to me when I was a nobody. And I've always been a seminar junkie. I was a Tommy Hopkins guy and a Zig Ziglar guy. So I listened to that stuff. I sponged up all those tapes. I learned my scripts, my dialogues, overcoming objections. I lived on phone duty and open houses for several years. And then I had one of those aha moments. I went to a buy referral only seminar, and the guy was Joe Stump, of course. And he kind of invented coaching for realtors. And that just, the light went on above my head. The angels started singing. He talked about the reticular activator and Fred the Head and airplane turbulence and before, during, and after. And I thought, holy smokes, I'm in. And so the systems and the processes were huge. And then, so that's 95. In about 2000, one of the tapes, the cassette tapes, might have been an 8-track tape back then, but one of the tapes that came in the mail to me was a guy named Rick Ruby. And he's this maniac lender out of Michigan. And he said, realtors are broke and realtors don't pay their taxes and realtors are maxed out on their credit cards and realtors don't go home when they say they're going to go home. And I thought, holy smokes, this guy's been reading my diary. So I went to an event where I knew he'd be a speaker. And I said, I listened to your tape. It's like going to church and you feel like the pastor is talking directly to you and go, how did they know I was that bad all week long in a room of 200 people? But he was speaking to me. And he said, I'm leaving Buy Referral and I'll open up this new coaching company, System, Structure, and Accountability. And I said, I'm in, where do I sign? And that was 21, 22 years ago. Back then I was probably I wasn't broke anymore, but I didn't have a whole lot of money. But back then I was probably doing 10 million, 12 million, which was pretty good by San Antonio standards. And last year we did about 150 million. I've got 15 salaries on my team. I've got a couple of independent buyer agents, but not many. We kind of keep them hidden away from the core. And so, but they've been with me a long time and they do their thing, which is cool. I got no problem with that. They don't give me any grief. And if they did, they'd be out. But I've got a great team. Of the 500+ deals that we closed last year, 88% of those were referred to me by somebody. So I'm not a Zillow, Boomtown, Tiger League guys. I can't stand those guys. They are trying to put us out of business. Realtor.com is not a whole lot better. And so I haven't spent a dime with them in years. And I'll be damned. I'm not going to try to outspend somebody on Zillow. And I don't want those bad leads anyway. I'm going to work on my database. I'm going to work on my referral partners. I'm going to work on my VIPs, deepen those relationships, pour into them, bring value besides just showing up and collecting a check, and help them in any way I possibly can. So maybe with money or with other things. I've learned so much over the, I don't know anything, don't know a lot, but I learned a little bit about everything in the last 40 years. So it's been a great run. The reason I'm here for Austin is she's one of our coaches, and I think the world of her. And so my ask of you is that if you're not doing business with her, give an opportunity to earn your business. Take a cup of coffee with her. If you are doing business with her, give her a greater share of wallet. I know there's some great lenders in Santa Barbara. You've got other relationships, but if you're giving her 2, give her 3. If you're giving her 3, give her 4. And the third thing I'm going to ask is, if there's somebody in your office that you think is a good fit for her, not a drama queen, but a really good agent that you think would be a good match, and have a lunch, the 3 of you, and introduce her and give her the endorsement that you would like to get as a realtor. We want to be endorsed, not just she's the cheapest in town or whatever, but about the value add kind of endorsement with enthusiasm. And that's all I ask. Anything that we discuss, systems, processes, scripts, dialogues, is available to you through Austin. So our philosophy is givers gain, we share. And so if you need something or want something, you take care of her and her team and her LOs, and she'll get it from the core, or concierge, or our archives, or she'll hit me up for something like that. So anything that I can help you with, we've worked on a lot of this stuff for many, many years. And so the pre-listing packages, the scripts, the dialogues, the processes, all that sort of thing. So that's the bargain, if you guys are okay with that. And so by a show of hands, who has somebody that sends them 2 or 3 deals a year? Anybody? Bueller? Samantha, would you unmute and play the game with me?
Sure.
Super. Thank you very much for holding your hand up. So Samantha, who is that person to you generically?
A friend from church.
Okay, so a friend. She's just a maven or connector. She's one of those people that just thinks the world of you. You're not a threat to her. She doesn't mind if you prosper. She's just that person.
Yes.
Right? Okay, great. What is her industry, or is she just a connector?
She's just a connector.
Okay.
She meets a lot of people who are new to town and need someone to help them with their housing needs. And she thinks highly of me. So
absolutely, evidently she does. And how long have she sent you a deal or 2 a year?
Maybe 4 years.
Okay, that's phenomenal. Good. Do you have anybody else in your stable that does that?
Not super consistently.
Okay.
I have, people that will send me 1, maybe a year or 2 introductions, but not solid deals.
So if I can help you get to 5 people like that, and then help you get to 10 people, would that resonate?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool. If you got 1, you can get 2. And if you got 2, you can get 5. So my homework assignment early this year was to identify how many people sent us a referral last year that closed, not as a principal, but they sent us mom and dad, they sent us the kids, they sent us for whatever reason, they sent us a deal. I do a lot of work for builders, so I get a lot of referrals from them as well. And what I found out was I had 112 people sent me 350 deals that closed last year. I'm not a great sales guy. I'm not a big personality. I'm not particularly charming. My days as an Abercrombie model are long gone. And so, but I'm a really good system process guy. And when I finally figured out that part of the deal, that's when my business really took off. And so identifying, I've got my builder reps that I work with, and then I've got other industry referral partners. So title, mortgage, attorneys that are real estate attorneys and things like that. And then I've got a bunch of non-industry people, CPAs, financial planners, non-real estate attorneys, business owners, HR directors. So I work those different constituencies and love on them and bring value to that relationship and do any number of things. I had a guy call me yesterday and say, "Hey, will you support my charity?" Absolutely. You're buying a 1-1 house from me. And I've sold 2 other houses for you and your family. Now, I know 1-1 is a tear down in Santa Barbara, but it's a big deal to me. It was 25 years before I sold a house over $1 million. And I always sell about 1 or 2 a year. That's just not our market. I'm a $300,000, $400,000 FHA, VA Govy town, and that's just what we do. But we do a lot of it. But every once in a while we get a fatty. And so that's kind of nice. And so he's, would you support this? I've already been checked for $500 or $1,000, no problem, to help underwrite his 5K run or whatever it is he's doing. And so I'm present, I'm involved. Now I've got a great advantage in that I've lived here all my life and been in business for 40 years. So not everybody has that advantage. But I've got no excuses either. I've got to truly exploit that. Does anybody know who, oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank on his name now. Great, I'll come back to it anyway. So the question is, or the line from this gentleman is, and I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on, is if you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete. And so the flip side of that is where you do have a competitive advantage, you got to go all in. So competitive advantages come from relationships, shared values, and shared sacrifices, even better. But you've got to identify the people that know you, like you, and trust you, that you've got access to. Because if you get somebody that's 100 miles away, is not going to do you any good as a referral partner. They're great people, and you can mail them electronically, but you can't gift them. You can't be in a relationship with them from a long distance. So it's got to be a local. It's got to be somebody that will return your phone call. So if you've got a bunch of doctors on your list, they're probably not going to call you back on Monday because you called them with some great discussion you wanted to have, or ask about the game or the weekend or whatever. So they got to be people that want to play the game with you. They've got to be willing to refer you the way you want to be referred. And then you've got to identify what they want from you. Do they want reciprocity? Hey, you send me a deal, I'll give you a deal. We're going to trade 1 for 1, 2 for 1, 3 for 2. What's the bargain? And I learned the hard way to quit making that promise, because there were a lot of people that was a condition of doing business with them, which I certainly respect. But I found out that I'd say, oh yeah, sure. No, I'll take care of you. I'll see what I can do. And then nothing happened. And so I've learned the hard way over time to say, you know what, I certainly respect that. I understand. However, that's not the relationship I'm looking for. I want to be a subcontractor for you. I want to take great care of your people. I want to be an extension of your practice. I want to protect them from all the bad. I'll never hurt them. I'll never let anybody else hurt them. And I want to reflect well on you and bring them back to you in one piece. That's the role I want. If you want something different, then I'm probably not your guy. Now, there are 3 other things that we could do together. And one of them is a joint venture. We said we're both left-handed Episcopalians, and we're going to work that constituency together. You could do that in a geographic farm. You could do that with alumni association or something like that. If you said, hey, we're both Aggies, we're going to mail to Aggies, and any of the fruit from that tree, we're going to share in. That's a joint venture. Those are hard to sustain. So the next one's a loyalty uplift. If I'm bigger than you, then I'm the loyal. That's why you join a country club. That's why you drive a nice car. That's why you go to a prestigious title company. You probably wouldn't do business with Austin if she was working out of the trunk of her car. That would not reflect well on you. So for a lot of you, she'll never say she's too modest, but she's a loyalty uplift. Hanging out with Austin is good for you. It's good for your experience, your credibility, and everything else. And so as much as she downplays that, that's one of her things. Now, the role she wants, I believe, is to be that great subcontractor. But quite honestly, she's a hell of a loyalty uplift. She'll coach you up. She'll help you. She'll bring value to that relationship besides just, here's a donut. Can I have a loan? And so there's a loyalty uplift, a joint venture, prevent client loss. That's the subcontractor role. That's the one I like to play. And loyalty uplift, prevent client loss, joint venture, subcontractor role, and there's one other one I'm drawing a blank on, but it doesn't matter because it didn't apply. That's not the one you want. Reciprocity, basically. And so you want to identify what's their number one. What are they looking for in this relationship? Do they want you to be the rock star that takes them up a notch and brings value that way? Or do they want you to be the subcontractor? And my goal is to be the subcontractor. I mean, there's a few people that I'm bigger than, small builders and things like that. I bring some value there that they might not get from some other agent. But the big boys that I deal with, the big nationally publicly traded companies, the big builders, they're way bigger than me. It's not even close. And so I don't bring any value to that, but I do get their deals done. And the thing about builders is close on time, no excuses. That's all that matters to them. They don't want to hear about the rest of it. So you got to make it happen. So if you make those promises, you got to deliver with builders. And we have done a pretty good job. There's some deals we've chainsawed over the years. There's builders that I've lost. Either we messed up on a deal, or they transferred their affections, or they got a new sales manager, a new mommy, a new daddy, and they decided they wanted to go with their buddy instead of me. And then 5 years later, 10 years later, we'll get them back. And so it's not a constant. You got to continue to battle for those. You got to continue to protect those relationships. You got to continue to top grade them and so on. One of the lessons I learned, I told you I had 112 people that sent me 350 deals. In the 3 years prior to that, so 19, 20, and 21, I had 220 people that sent me deals that closed. Now, of the 220, I'm going to give myself some grace and say 40 or 50 of them are out of business now. They're no longer in the industry. So I can't count on them anymore. It wasn't my fault that they went away. But that still leaves me with about 170 versus the 112. So I got about 60 people out there that sent me a deal in the last 3 years that didn't send me a deal last year. So I've got two sandboxes that I play in. One is the 112, absolutely. We've been very successful with them. That's the most recent occurrence. We do some fun things with them. But then I got to find those other 60 and find out what happened. Did we mess up? Did we take them for granted? Did they transfer their effect? What happened? Why do we were successful with them? I already know that, but we missed something. And so I want to find out and figure out, where did they go? What do we need to do to get them back, if at all possible? If I can't get them back, I want to at least get them to neutral. I don't want them angry or mad or disparaging us. I want to make sure that they go, yeah, we're good, we're cool. I'm not going to send you more business, but at least we're back to neutral. And I got a few of those too. That we weren't a good match, just didn't get along. We got the deal done. It was very professional. It was a transaction, but it wasn't the relationship that I'm looking for. So I want to work really, really hard on those relationships. I think that's what's going to sustain us through what we're going through. And I got to believe that this whiplash second quarter, and Austin can talk in more detail about this, but when February, March, interest rates were in the low threes. In April, they were in the fours. In May, they were in the fives. By June, they were at 6 or 5 7/8 or something like that. Since then, they've come back down a little bit, but that was a huge shock to the system. We may get another bump from the Fed. I don't know how much that's going to affect mortgage rates, because I don't think the economy can take much more of a high interest. I mean, they're doing exactly what they want to do, which is slow down the economy, and it is slowing down quickly because people just are pulling back, and we're seeing deals bust out left and right. People that are really payment sensitive. If you thought you were buying that house and your payment was going to be $2,500 a month, and then now they're telling you $3,000 or $3,200. Most people don't have that kind of elasticity in their discretionary income. Some of them flat out don't qualify, and some of them just can't take that extra $600-700. That's just too much of their lifestyle. They were really good buyers at 3 1/4 or 3 1/2, but they're not. They're buy payments in San Antonio. In Santa Barbara, I think you buy the view. Is that right, Austin? You buy the view or your proximity to Oprah. But in San Antonio, you buy payments, and you're paying $2,500 a month, $3,000 a month, 34, whatever those numbers are. So, I'd love to open this up for some Q&A and talk about some questions you may have. And if you're asking for a friend, that's okay. But I'd be more than happy to. Yes, ma'am, Austin. Thank you so much.
So I think a lot of us are told to go after attorneys, right? Go after attorneys, estate attorneys, divorce attorneys, things of that nature. And I feel like, divorce attorneys for me, honestly, they usually don't necessarily have their act together. They're all over the place, right? So besides just attorneys, what are some other ideas? Like Samantha, I know has people from church, right? Like Raphael's got people that are in his social network period, right? Aaron's got different groups that he has. But what are some maybe different ideas that you might have that are on your VIP list that aren't like traditional, so to speak?
Great question. So it is people that you share values with first and foremost. If you're not comfortable with them, if they're not welcome at your house for dinner, if you would not take an invitation to their home for dinner, that's probably not a good fit. You want people that you're aligned with, whatever your value set may be, whether it's cultural or religion, whatever it is, whatever your values are, you want to be aligned with people that are like-minded. That is a lot less friction in that relationship. And so you want to identify those people. And then the next criteria is you got to have access to them and proximity, geographic proximity. And they've got to have the capacity for it. So you can have the person that checks those first 3 boxes. They're amazing. She's the sweetest lady ever, but she's in a rocking chair at a nursing home. That's not going to do you any good. So it's got to be someone who is in industry or the occasional maven or connector kind of person that's just that guy, that they just high energy, everybody loves them, they're influential. If they wanted to, they'd have their own TikTok video or whatever. Those are the people that are raving fans and advocates for you. So that's kind of what you're looking for. And then the next part of that deal is, what do you want? You want $1 million buyers? Do you want first-time home buyers? Do you want inbound relo? What do you want? And so you got to figure out who knows those people. If you remember the 6 degrees of separation, a guy, this is back way before the internet, way before FedEx. He challenged a bunch of people, and I want to say in Kansas City, to get a letter to this person that they did not know. And I want to say 80% of those letters arrived at that person's doorstep. And most of those came through one source, but the average was 6 touches. So I mailed it to somebody that I knew, who mailed it, say, would you help me out with this? Would you forward this to somebody you know who can get me closer to? And so that was kind of the premise of 6 degrees of separation. So You're looking for those connectors, and every once in a while you hit a vein. You hit one of those. CPAs are not that good, but divorce attorneys are really, really good. If they like you and they see the value that you provide to their clients, and you free up the money to pay their bills, and the estate sale attorneys, then they become the hero because they found you and you got rid of all the stuff and you donated everything and you got the house spruced up and got the most amount of money out of it. That's a huge value add for any of those groups. If it's HR, we do a lot of work for UTSA here in San Antonio. It's a nice university, about 32,000 students. It's gone from a commuter school to a really nice. I'm very proud of it, and what's done a lot for the city. And so we would do quality of life tours for the inbound tenure track faculty. So UC Santa Barbara, nobody leaves there. So as they attract and recruit new young PhD candidates that they think are looking at tenure track, they're going to bring in 3 or 4 people for every position that they have available. And at UTSA, there's probably 3,000, 3,500 faculty and staff. I don't think UC Santa Barbara is quite that big, but there's 1,000 to 2,000 faculty and staff. And everybody with custodians has at least a master's degree. Most of them have a PhD. They don't bounce checks. They make plenty of money. They can trade houses in your marketplace. And so getting those people as they come in, we'll give them the quality of life tour and show them where other professors live. And here's the amenity center, and here's the tennis courts, and here's where the equestrian area is, and this country clubs and things like that. And we don't sell them a house, we sell them San Antonio. And we'll take care of the trailing spouse so that that person feels loved and cared for, so they're not just being dismissed. And then if they get the job, then normally we'll get that engagement and we'll get to sell them a house and plant those seeds for the next round. So I've done a ton of work out there. That's the UTSA Alumni Association and then the A&M Alumni Association are great brands to be aligned with. And I work those really, really hard.
Cool. I like it. Anybody else have questions?
I'm just taking it all in. These are really creative ways. I appreciate all of the points you're making, Dayton.
So if you, thank you very much. So if you identify, so here's the challenge. Start with 5, because sometimes it gets too daunting. We way overplay our hands. So start with 5. The 5 most prominent people that you know, influential, no broke, you don't want anybody broke, they're not going to do you any good. So people that you admire and respect in your marketplace that you are either connected to, they're already in your phone, or they're one phone call away. That's where you want to start. And you identify those 5. If you've got 5, go to 10. If you got 10, grow it to 15 and 20. Set a goal. Keep moving the goalposts on yourself. Austin will hold you accountable if you would like. If you'll be transparent with her, she'll say, let's start with your first 5 VIPs. What are we going to do about that? Let's get the next 5. And how you get the next 5 is you ask the first 5, who are you're one of my VIPs. I think the world of you. I deeply respect you. I admire what you've done. I think you run a phenomenal business. I know you're not in the market for anything right now, but I'm trying to build out my network. I want to expand my sphere of influence. Who should I meet? Who are your VIPs? Who's your CPA, your financial planner, your go-to attorney, and things like that. And then you can get to call and then you say, would you mind? And they'll go, no problem. I'll be happy to. Send them a text, arrange an introduction, send them an email, whatever. You got to have a great resume to accompany that and say, they'll say, hey, Austin, I've got a great realtor in Santa Barbara, Samantha Ireland. She's amazing. Here's her resume. Take her call, please. That's what you want. And then when you get to talk to the attorney and say, hey, we've got a mutual client that thinks the world of you, and I'm expanding my network, and I sell a lot of houses. What are you looking for in a customer? What do you want? How can I help you? And if you find out it's a DUI dog bite attorney, which I did one time, that's probably not a good fit. That's not exactly the constituency I'm looking for. He took the meeting, could have been nicer. He had a hubcap, an ashtray the size of a hubcap that was just domed with cigarettes, and there's this cloud of smoke in the room. I thought that's not the guy I'm looking for. So being able to be a little more discerning is helps on that. But ask them who their VIPs are, and make it a goal when you got your best clients and these potential VIP referral partners, that you ask them, hey, I sold your house 3 years ago. I hope you're happy. I hope you love it. You want to be a resource for them. Do you need a pool, a fence? Is there anything, a painter? Is there anything we can do for you, making any changes to the house? They say, Dad, tell me, who's your CPA? And on a scale of 1 to 10, oh my God, Caitlin, she's amazing. She's incredible. Great. I can call Caitlin now and say, we've got a mutual client. They think the world of you. And so who's not going to take that meeting? And so, we're not talking about cold calling anybody. Another tactic, if you will, is if you've got a list of attorneys and you say, who else you talk to the one that you know and say, who else on this list do you know? And they'll say, oh, I went to school with her. She's amazing. I don't like this person at all. I've tangled with them before. You need to talk to so-and-so. If you're not a threat to them, if they like you and they want to see you grow and prosper, and that doesn't hurt them at all. And there's some people that they can't stand to see somebody else successful, but most of these people, you're not a threat to them. You're no way a threat. So they want to see you prosper. You're not a threat to Austin. She wants to see you prosper. She will help you out. That's the relationship you're looking for. She'll help you grow your business. And so that's the role you want to have. That's how you kind of want to identify somebody is that they're going to be supportive of you, help you out, help you grow your business, that sort of thing. And then you just keep over and over again. Go down a list of attorneys, and the case study, and it was a Joe Stump case study, if I'm not mistaken. He said somebody was talking to the Speakers Bureau of Southern California, and he had a list of 30 or 40 names. So he sees the first guy that he knew through a friend, got introduced to through a friend, and said, who else on this list do you know? And he said, I know this guy and this guy. Great, would you mind? No problem, happy to. And he helped introduce 2 more. Those guys introduced him to 2 or 3 more. Those guys introduced him to 4 or 5 more, and so on. That's how he built out this. And he before he was done, he had all 40, he'd been in front of all 40 of those people. So you can do it. You can do it if you're intentional about it, if you track it correctly, if you role play with Austin, if you get your sales pitch down, what I did a horrible job on earlier. And I was thinking when Austin was talking, I said, okay, there it is. There's 5 reasons why we ought to align with one another. One is fees. You send me a deal, I'll give you money. And that's great for a referral, but it's not appropriate in all relationships. You know, an attorney or a CPA is not, you can't give them money for a deal. You can't pay that fee. They want referrals. That's the reciprocity. You give me stuff, I'll give you stuff. We'll trade. And sometimes they say, you go first. You know, no, I'm not going to do that. All right. The loyalty uplift, that's where you're bigger than them. The joint venture and the prevent client loss. That's the subcontractor rule. So those are 5 reasons why we should align with one another. What's your number one? And if they say, my number one is fees, you know what? Nice visiting with you. Thank you so much for your time. See you, bye. Or referrals. And you got to decide, do I really want to take on that responsibility? Can I live up to that? Because I said yes a lot of times when I should not have. And now I don't anymore, but it's still my first, absolutely, I'll take care. I'm a pleaser. What do you need? I'll help you out. I'll do anything I can. No. And so that's not always accurate. So if you can articulate those 5 and have them identify the one that's most important to them, and you can sell them, there's a sales component to this. If you sell them on the notion that you're going to be a great subcontractor for them, and there's value in that you're not going to let them get hurt by anybody. And you can always use the, hey, do you know anybody's had a bad experience selling real estate? And they go, oh my God, yeah. Well, tell me about that. And they go, oh, the loan didn't close on time. They couldn't get docs. The lock expired. The house wasn't ready. The seller took all the stuff with them and did a scorched earth deal, whatever. And you say, man, I tell you what, that is not going to happen with me. I promise you, I will take great care of your people and protect their interest, be an advocate for them, and so on. And so nothing's going to go wrong. I promise. And that's a hard promise to make, because you know there's a whole lot of people in the deal that you don't have control over. But you gotta make it your life goal to not let them get hurt, to protect their interest. And if you do that consistently and deliver, you can scale it as much as you want. And the only difference is you guys have 1 or 2 or 3 or 5, couple of people that are on mute, maybe some might have 10 people that send them a deal or 2 a year consistently. I'm just ahead of you on the curve. That's the only difference. I've got a lot of years of doing this and a great network in San Antonio that I continue to protect. And there's always disruptors, there's always competition, there's deals we screw up. So we're always vulnerable to an attack, if you will. And so we gotta continue to top grade. People get out of the business all the time, change, leave, do whatever. And so we want to be positioned to continue to restock and replenish that population and grow it. Okay. Good. What else can I do for you guys? So go find those 5 and then get to 10, collect an all about you form from them. Austin can share that with you. She probably has one on all of you guys as she leads by example. So collect that all about, and then you know where they went to school, you know what they like to drink, you know what their kids, pets do, whatever, favorite team. And you can gift them and talk to them when you call them up and check in on them. Say, hey, did you watch the game this weekend? I know you're a Raiders fan. How's it like? What's it like being in Vegas now as opposed to Oakland or whatever? I mean, you got to charm a little bit. You got to schmooze a little bit and play that game. Or how's your kids? Or wow, SATs next week. Holy smokes, that's a big. I remember those days and all that sort of thing. I mean, there got to be a little bit of energy and enthusiasm and salesmanship. Anybody can stick a sign in the ground and let all the other realtors bring you offers. That's not hard. There's nothing hard about that. And anybody can be an overpaid Uber driver showing houses. There's nothing really hard about that. The hard part is the prospecting, the lead gen, really good lead. Or you can buy them, but I wouldn't wish that. I mean, that's a bad model. Somebody will always outspend you. And if you are successful in a zip code or a market, whatever, then they're going to turn around and sell it to somebody else, or they're going to jack up your price. So it's not the relationships that I want to have. It's not the business I want to have. What else, Austin?
Anybody else got some questions? So we talked about
I have a
how you
question.
dig in. Samantha, you got one?
Yeah, when you are talking with past clients or referral sources and they ask you for referrals,
Right.
who do you use for contractor, painter, this sort of thing, whatever that is.
Right.
Do you just provide them with one? Do you provide them with many? Have you just one? You give them one painter, one contractor.
There's no value in you handing out. This is a great setup, Samantha. Thank you so much. There's no value in you handing out 3 cards. That you might as well tear a page out of the phone book. Any of you guys are old enough to remember what a phone book was. Anyway, but there's no value in it. So now you may have 2 or 3 painters, you may have 2 landscape guys, but you only refer one, and you refer them the way you want to be referred. He's amazing. He's going to take great care of you. I've already pre-negotiated a discount. He's going to know you're one of my VIPs. And you set that up. So you want to absolutely, you want to be that resource for anything that your people need, whether it's protesting their taxes or a question about mom and dad's house or the estate. You want to be on their Rolodex as their #1 go-to person for anything. And you got to tell people that you do that. You can't just do it and not say anything about it. But if you say, oh, by the way, here's my case study. I helped these so-and-so wanted a pool. We helped them get a pool. We found a great pool contract. Oh my God, it's amazing. Can't wait to get invited over for that. Or outdoor living or any other new carpet, new paint, you name it. You want to be the hub of all of that. And you need to have, and they are flaky people sometimes, and they're going to come back and say, hey, the guy was an idiot. Oh, shoot, I'm so sorry, he's off the list. I'll get you somebody else. So you got to have some ownership there. And we've had that happen, but I make sure my guys they're not the guys that take a draw and disappear. They'll never work for me again. They need to do that one time. Is that helpful, Samantha?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. So there's referrals as a vendor and or a trade, and then there's referrals, you give me, I give you a deal. And to make that distinction, if you will, on that. But you absolutely positioning yourself as the go-to for anything they need. I mean, I used to send out, I still send out videos, but up until May, it was, oh, by the way, if your interest rate is over 5, we can get you still refinance, skip a payment, no cost, whatever. I mean, I didn't make a dime off of that, but I wanted to make sure that if they were sitting on a 6% and they never got around to refinancing, and there's a few of them out there, that they were really missing out. And so another value add. You can interview your trades. You can interview your favorite restaurant and say, hey, anybody that comes here gets free dessert. This is so-and-so's restaurant. Oh my God, it's amazing. What a nice touch. You elevate them. You can interview the appraiser. You can interview Austin and say, Austin, talk to us about loans now. What kind of loans are you doing for jumbos and super jumbos and whatever else? Or qualifying people right now. What does that look like? 30, 45 seconds, couple of minutes. Most people have the attention span of a 3-year-old. So it's got to be kind of short and fast, but it's just a quick little, check this out, good stuff. It gives you credibility, and then it's a lot easier to talk to somebody in an interview situation than it is just to go off on your own. And so most people are a lot more comfortable interviewing. Austin can interview you, you can interview her, and so on. That's great content. And then it goes out to your social media and so on, or your YouTube channel or whatever it is you have. What else? Great questions. Anybody else? Everybody else is hiding.
Yeah, anybody else that's not on video besides me and Samantha?
They're all sitting on a beach. They don't want anybody to know that.
It's still foggy out. It's
There
still
we
foggy
go,
out
Aaron.
over
Thank you.
here.
Yeah,
Aaron bit on the hook. Thank you, Aaron.
no problem.
What can I
Thank
do for you?
No, this has all been really helpful. I liked hearing about the early people that you looked up to. I forget their names, like Tommy Hopkins. That was the first sales book that I ever read. I forget the title.
He was fascinating. I got to see Zig Ziglar in person, and we had a buddy of mine and I, we could only afford one book, but we got it autographed. I think he ended up with it. But I had a signed Zig Ziglar book, which I'd love to have back. And I just thought he was phenomenal. And then a bunch of other people. Oh shoot, there were just some great, listing agents that wrote their own books. And wow, I'm gonna follow this guy, I'm gonna follow that guy. And like I said, people were nice to me. I struggled for the longest time, but I was always willing to learn, and I was willing to hold my hand up and say, I need your help. Can we do something together? And a few people blew me off, but a whole lot of people that didn't have to said, yeah, sure, you can sit in my open house, or you can take my sign calls or whatever. And because they didn't want to talk to yahoos. So I could do that.
Great.
Okay.
A lot of us are held back because we won't ask for help. We hold ourselves back.
True story. Those are always ours.
Yeah. Not anybody on this call, but there's people that.
That's why we're here. Does anybody else have any questions for Dayton? Going once. Going twice.
I can give you one more nugget if you want.
Please.
Okay, so there was 5 reasons why we should align with one another, but there's 5 reasons why we shouldn't align with one another. And has anybody ever read Never Split the Difference? Great book about negotiations. So the premise was this guy was a hostage negotiator. And if the intellectually lazy thing to do, which we all do, is, oh, you're at 1.5, I'm at 1.6, let's split the difference. And we end up at 1.55 and nobody's happy, or everybody's happy, whatever. He said, that premise doesn't work with hostages. I'll tell you what, let's split the difference. You kill one and send one back. That's not a good strategy. And so he just tells some great stories about situations that he was involved in and how he did this and did that. And part of it was patience and part of it was leverage and so on. But it's a good book. But what he said was, the yeses mean nothing until you get a no. So people say, oh yeah, I'll refer you all the time. I give out your cards all the time. Well, how about today? Who can we talk to today? And they go, well, no. Okay, now what are we talking? Now we found out there's a little bit of pushback. And so what that boils down to is trust. They like you, but they just don't trust you yet. Control. They're a control freak and they got burned before, so they don't want to lose control of the situation. We all know this person. Right? A quality match. And so a quality match can be, if you're driving a Prius, wearing shredded jeans and Birkenstocks, I'm not going to put one of my 7-figure cufflink clients in front of you. And the flip side is, if you're driving an S-Class Mercedes, rocking a $20,000 Rolex, you might be a little bit much for my scared little bunny rabbit first-time home buyers. Quality matches your stationery, the way your office looks, the way your car looks, how you dress, the jokes you tell, your table manners. We all know that guy that's just a great person, but he's got no filter. And you go, gee, you just kind of cringe every time they tell a joke or something like that. But as a human being, they're perfectly fine. But you never give them a client because you never know what they're going to do or say or who they're going to swat or whatever. You go, God, please don't. But there's those people still exist. And so that's quality match. The next fear that most people have is organizational consistency. And what that looks like, that's reload business. Anybody done reload business? They want it the same way every single time. If you were in business in 2009, 2010, we lived on Equator and all the short sales. And that's how we survived. And Equator was your green light, but if it went yellow, you need to pay attention to it. If it went red, you were done. Period. Game over. I don't care how many houses you sold, whatever. They were all about organizational consistency. They were all about the same thing every single time. And so if someone says, well, this is what happened. You were with me the first time, but the second time I got handed off to somebody else. And the third time it just wasn't that good. That's organizational consistency. And the 5th fear is bang for buck. Just not big enough. I don't see the value in it. Maybe you can sell them on that. It's like Austin, I know talk for you, but I'm going to say somebody that is first year or been in business for 10 years, but they only sell one house a month. Is that somebody that you would pursue? One house a year.
Okay. I'm like, in our market, a house a month would be great, but
oh my God, yeah, they're a rock star. But a house a year.
Not.
No,
probably not. No.
It's not worth it. You're not going to pour into that person when there's so many other great people that get up and get after it every day. And if they're working, one house a year is just really not very good productivity. So that's bang for buck. And they could love Austin, and they should, and see the value in the relationship with her and all that, but it's just not big enough for her. And so that's bang for buck. So you got to say, now that I've articulated those 5 fears, which one resonates with you? And they'll say trust. You go, great. So if trust is your issue, you've got control, or you've got trust issues. I'm cool. I understand that. Let's talk about how I earn your trust. So how do you earn trust?
You do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, keep small promises. That's one way. Another way is the triangle for trust. Hey, look, I got introduced to you by Austin Lamson. I love her. I think the world of her. She's a great referral partner. I would never do anything to jeopardize that relationship. Do you trust Austin? How long have you known her? I've known her for years. She's amazing. How long have you known her? And man, if you trust Austin, you can trust me. That's what we call a triangle for trust. You gotta work that. You got to elevate the referral partner. You don't just say, "Oh, Austin, that's great, thank you," and keep on going. You say, "Austin, oh my God, how in the world do you know her? She's incredible. I can't believe we've never met. She's just," anyway, that's what you got to make a big deal about that. Otherwise, it's meaningless. They call you up and say, "Hey, I got your name from Austin." You go, "Yeah, okay, great, whatever." Then all value just went out the window. So keeping small promises. Show them your Google reviews, your surveys, your Zillow reviews, if you still have any of those, the thank you notes that you've collected over the years. I've got notebooks full of so-and-so was great. You guys took good care of us. That plus all the Google reviews and everything else. And we had a couple of 1-stars. I mean, where we just messed a deal up, or they weren't happy about what happened. I got all these 5s and occasional 1s. And I leave those up there just because it keeps me humble. And it reminds me that's their truth, regardless of whether or not I agree with them, and that's not the whole story. It's their truth. So that's just part of the deal.
Cool. Samantha, did you have a question?
No.
All right.
So Austin's heard that before, and I can spend more time with her later on that. And those 5 fears, you identify, that's isolate the objection, overcome the objection. That is sales 101. So your objection is trust or control. I can show you my processes. If it's organizational consistency, I'm going to show you how our checklists and our systems and my pre-listing package and my buyer package, and here's how we do all that. And they'll be blown away by that. If it is bang for buck, you got to prove that you are who you say you are, and you can bring value to that relationship. And if it's quality match, and so in San Antonio, I am not bilingual. There's a huge Hispanic population in San Antonio. If a condition of doing business with you is diplomatic fluency in Spanish, I'm probably not your guy. Now I've got that on my team, but me personally, I do not possess that. I'm embarrassed after all these years, but that's just the way it is. So I can certainly respect if all your clients are Mexican nationals and they want to do everything in Spanish. They're fun to have dinner with at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, but we're not gonna gel. So that might be a quality match.
Cool.
So
Very good.
isolate the objection, overcome the objection, and get a no. Once you get a no, now you're off to the races. Now you got something going on. They're not just shining you on.
Nice. I have a quick question, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
So new agents starting out in the industry. So a
Right.
lot of that is, you're talking about reviews and things like that. What would your kind of recommendation be for initiating those prospects and showing your value as a new agent that doesn't have that background to pull from?
Sure. So you can leverage your brokerage. If you've got a great brand, you're flying a good flag, you can use your broker stats for your office and things like that. Our office sold X. I've got, whatever. That's one way to do it. The other way is, again, work that group of people that already know you, like you, and trust you, and leverage those relationships. Hey, and go back to your previous industry, whatever that might have been, and work that constituency as well. And then if there's a alumni association or something else where the secret handshake, I'd go work that group. But I'd be super intentional about each one. Start with your people that you're in relationship with. It's already in your phone. You just never had that real sales conversation with them. And then work on the VIPs, then work on the next the next pillar of your business.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And take advantage of all the opportunities between open houses for other agents
Mhm.
or whatever. Go on a listing appointment with them, watch them work. I won't say a word. I'll sit at the end of the table. And that's great. I take my people on my listing appointments a lot. And so I want them to get those reps underneath their belt so that they're comfortable, they're competent, and therefore confident when they're in that appointment on their own. And I'll go on some with them and I'll sit still and just go, oh God, I can't. And then we'll talk in the car on the way home, but I'll let them do their thing and coach them up after that.
Great. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I was looking at the questions on the chat. Good. I think we got everybody. So,
All right.
guys, so take great care of Austin, please. If you're interested in, we got a great event coming up in Dallas called the Mega. It's a one-day deal. It's going to be a bunch of essentially TED Talks from really good agents about system, structure, process, team building, profitability, P&L, personal, whatever. We teach a lot of that stuff, and that's going to sell out pretty quick. But it's $1,000 for you fly in Thursday night, and it's $1,000 for the day. And we go bell to bell on Friday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner together, and fly home Friday night if you're going west. If not, stay and hang out and fly home on Saturday. It's a phenomenal event. It'll blow you away. And it's not a tease. It is meat and potatoes, real tactics and strategies, great takeaways that you can implement. And then through Austin, she can coach you up on let's pick these two and let's work on these. And then we'll go to get the next one. And we'll get the next one. She's super, super concrete, sequential, and that sort of thing. She's really good at it.
Well, thank you, Dayton. Thank you, everybody. And I will piggyback to Dayton's push on what we call the mega event. That was the first thing I ever did with the core. And you guys, it literally changed my business. I mean, I went from closing 43 million the first year that I went to the core to 309 million last year, right? So this is how we do it. This is how we get it done. So let me know what I can do for you. And Dayton, as always, you are the eternal gentleman. Your knowledge is amazing. And I'm so grateful for your time today.
My pleasure. I really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you. Our team, what are you doing? Team training together or something else?
I'm doing mega.
You're doing
So
mega.
I'll be at the mega. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be at DFW. It'll be great.
There you go. Good deal. All right. Well, then I'll see you in
October.
September.
Yeah.
The coach's trip.
Oh, yes, I'll see you in Florida.
Right. And
yeah.
always at your service. So anyway,
Yeah.
y'all take care. Be safe. Good luck. Go get them. Take care of Austin and let us know if there's anything else we can do for you.